Hey friends, your backdrop that you're seeing is a lovely pine tree, juniper tree stage backdrop, seems like, that I'm on here. My parents have this very cool little gazebo in their backyard. I've been struggling for a couple days now to sort of find the center of my center. I think find the center of where I'm really wanting to be headed. And I had something come to me yesterday. I think it was in some kind of liminal, half dream, half awake state. I spent the night up here with Annalise, two of us on our own again, and she had trouble sleeping, so she crawled into my bed. So I spent a lot of the night sleep stroking her, because she she likes to be stroked as she's going to sleep. We've installed that as a practice. And it was one of those times that started out frustrating because I was so exhausted, but ended up being so beautiful. Children have the ability to make transcendent moments out of ordinary moments, or even difficult moments, even moments that don't seem like they're rich potentials to create a beautiful moment, but kids can do that. And so anyway, as that was happening, there was a part of me that recalled the hero's journey. I've been finishing up listening to my book on narratives and how humans make meaning through narrative. And I have been just reminded as I've been going through the last couple chapters, I've been reminded of how whether we are doing this to ourselves or whether it's just the natural laws of physics, the laws of the universe, we seem to need moments of darkness before we can blossom or project into the next phase of light. We see this globally. We see this everything from the global evolution of culture and humanity to the experience of an individual human being. And the book on it's called Erzählende Affen. I've quoted it and talked about it a number of times. German book. I don't know if it's been translated, but it talks about how some of the crises facing us today, like climate change, are the sorts of crises that humans are ill-equipped narratively to address, because they don't have clear, the crisis doesn't have clear protagonists, it doesn't have clear antagonists, it doesn't have a definable single moment of like the hero being called to do the thing that ultimately, creates the change that needs to happen, or for the hero to prevail or the world to prevail or whatever. It's a giant crisis affecting millions and billions of people, and individual action is not the solution. It's not that it's not relevant or not important, but it's not the solution. The solution is some sort of mass movement, mass change. And our narrative proclivities, our narrative taste buds have trouble hooking into that story. We have trouble creating a compelling hero's journey, and the book is kind of basically pointing out or asserting that they think that's one of the reasons we're doing such a bad job at it. Why the crisis, we have this exponentially increasing issue with more and more repercussions, more and more visible repercussions all over the world. But the sort of moment of, if it even is a moment of decisive action, is a hard one to find. And when it comes to my own personal journey, I think I wonder, because I am kind of in this period of, it's just a little dark right now. I can't quite see where I'm going. And I think maybe that's right. Maybe that's what it wants to be. Maybe that, I've spoken over the last couple of days about the pressure that's created by the universe. That's kind of like the tectonic pressure that creates a diamond. But it's quite a thing to sit with that and engage with it in a healthy way over time. It's, I mean, by definition, a threshold moment is one that irrevocably changes things. You can't go back across the threshold. That's the whole point. You leap to a new phase. Energy shifts to another level of organization. And I think, one of the things that came up in conversation recently for me is a kind of this is when I was in Michigan about a week ago, just kind of chatting with my brothers. One of the things that came up as important in the healthy evolution of a human being is the ability to get yourself like decentered. Decentering one's own ego from the process of evolution. Because the ego evolves, ego in the kind of like sense of the structure of the self, not so much ego in the sense of the negative, destructive aspects of the self, but the ego in the sense of the structure of the self. I mean that's the object that can evolve, but almost always there's a reaching beyond, a going beyond, a discovering something we don't yet know. And so we kind of have to be willing to let even our own center go. Maybe fitting that I showed up. The first thing I said on this post is I'm having trouble finding my own center, because I think that may be what's happening. There's a decentering or an expanding of the center or a movement of the center that's happening, and it's very disorienting. And I think it's great to recognize that that's important and that that's the way this works. It is another thing to embrace it in action and to actually sit through that level unknown, that level of darkness. You know, nothing about darkness is negative. Nothing about the unknown is negative. It just feels maybe negative if we're viewing it from the vantage point of the ego, even the sort of positive self-structure ego. And that ego can't make sense of it, so there's a sense of fear, of disorientation, of vulnerability. But if we can really let go of that and let that decentering, you know, let ourselves go, I'll let myself go. You know, I know there's something on the other side of this. I think I even have a little bit of an inkling what it might look like, but I have to sort of concede and even embrace that actually I don't know. And knowing is not the point. It's the letting go that's the point. That's actually a relief, because the attempt to know is a kind of grasping, and when that grasping is over and over again relentlessly unsuccessful, that's a dynamic that's not comfortable, and it feels out of alignment. But simply letting go is something we can do with, and then embrace the courage that it takes to do that. Embrace the trust, the faith that it takes to do that. So maybe not knowing where my center is exactly where I need to be. Yeah. I think that's where I am today, folks. I'll see you soon.